Rewilding. Conservationists want to let elephants loose in Europe, and here's what could happen. Now, we know that there used to be a lot of wild animals in Europe. Many of them, of course, went extinct in Europe because of the age of the Colosseum and the gladiators. They were using animals as well. Now, a tremendous amount every single time they had shows like that. Now, imagine driving through a lush green landscape in France or Germany, spotting a herd of elephants roaming free. As absurd as it might sound, it was only 10,000 years ago that creatures the size of elephants populated continents like Europe. That's a blip in evolutionary terms. This is by Harry Wells, researcher, ecologist, University of Leeds, Nora Ward, lecturer in philosophy, National University of Ireland, Galway, Ramiro Crego, postdoctorate researcher, National Zoo and Smithsonian Conservative Biology Institute. This is on the conversation. In the last 10,000 to 60,000 years, humans have almost single-handedly eliminated around 80% of the world's herbivore species that weigh over a ton, known as mega herbivores. The last living mammoth, for instance, was wandering around Wrangel Island off the coast of Siberia as recently as 3,700 years ago. This massive loss of mega herbivores in such a relatively short period has had effects on vegetation that we can still see today, like promoting different types and size of plants. By eating trees, shrubs, grasses, and herbs, the elephants and giraffes in Africa, these giants play a crucial role in maintaining a diverse and healthy landscape with a balance between woodlands and grasslands. Please support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. For instance, elephants knock over trees, giving more space for grasslands to grow and helping savanna ecosystems to flourish. They are also critical for dispersing seeds across landscapes and helping to recycle nutrients in the soil. To restore balance to ecosystems damaged by factors including the loss of larger creatures, some have proposed bringing back lost species, which could include mega herbivores. This is already being promoted in Africa by organizations such as Space for Giants and African Parks. The problem is that we know very little about how reintroducing these giants could affect smaller species, some of which are facing extinction themselves. In a study published in the Journal of Animal Ecology, we shed light on the consequences of reintroducing such species into ecosystems that have lost them by looking at how they affect life in a Kenyan savanna. And our study, by excluding elephants and giraffes from the area and the savanna using electric fences, we studied how other animals in the area would respond to their absence. Our methods were simple but smelly. Over 12 years, we counted the dung piles of 12 species of smaller herbivores such as impalas, zebras, gazelles, and buffaloes. This enabled us to assess whether these animals preferred to hang out in areas with or without elephants and giraffes. We found that most animals, particularly the smallest ones, preferred the elephant and giraffe-free zones. In fact, zebras were the only animals that preferred the area with these mega herbivores, perhaps due to zebras' preference for wide open spaces with fewer trees and more grass. Neither elephants nor giraffes eat much grass. Our findings suggest that restoring mega herbivore populations will reduce habitats that smaller herbivores prefer. This is particularly important to consider in areas where smaller species are already endangered, but this does not mean we should discount the value of reintroducing mega herbivores altogether. The next steps. In Denmark, researchers have proposed introducing Asian elephants to a site near Copenhagen. They are the closest living relatives of mammoths, which we've not yet been able to resurrect, but they want to from the Siberian mammoths that has been found in the permafrost. Similarly, there are already over 100 captive Asian elephants in the United States, which would be allowed to roam freely in large enclosures. Plans like these would increase the habitat and population of larger endangered species. They would also provide valuable opportunities to observe megaherbivores' impacts on native plants and animals before larger scale releases are considered, while improving the welfare of captive elephants. Another example can be found in Australia, where researchers have suggested that introducing wild elephants and rhinos could help to control wildfires by eating lots of plants that, when dry, fuel more frequent and hotter fires. The large animals could mimic the ecological role of species like the now extinct 1.5-ton wombat. However, until such experiments actually take place in Europe, North America, or Australia, we must rely on what's known about similar species in other ecosystems to have an idea of what to expect. It's important to point out, just as elephants and giraffes reduce tree densities that have increased in their absence, their effects on other herbivores are likely to be a sign of the ecosystem and food supply returning to their more natural, healthiest states. This should not be an issue as long as we ensure, through careful planning and monitoring, that other plants and animal species are not being threatened with extinction due to rewilding interventions. Whether we introduce ecological replacements for extinct giants or return existing megaherbivores to their former stomping grounds, the potential ecological impacts of reintroducing such a large creature on native plants and animals should not be overlooked as we ramp up rewilding efforts globally. I want to put, this is on the conversation, Creative Commons, I would put my comments here. We know that the United States has a tremendous amount of national parks. And, we know that the bison are repopulating, for example, the Yellowstone Park area, but we can use these national parks to rewild these elephants, for example, elephants and rhinos. What do you think? Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support.